Fear. I think I'm highly motivated by fear. I'm not even sure what I'm afraid of. Afraid of the normal stuff, I would imagine. Afraid of I'm afraid of listing my fears, obviously. Why is it so scary to list fears? I think people are scared of the same thing. Scared of getting hurt, physically or emotionally, mentally. Fear of not being accepted, not being loved. Afraid of giving love, but that's because of not, the possibility of not being loved in return. Fear of being alone. I think that also has to do with love. So what am I afraid of? I don't even know. I've been thinking about it. I'm scared of being known, I guess. Scared of saying what I'm scared of. Scared of failing. I'm scared of succeeding. I want Epic every day to work so badly. And yet, it's easy to get distracted because I think I'm scared of success. It's easier to look at what other people are doing than to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Scared of responsibility. In about 630 days, I'll be 40 years old. I'm not really scared of turning 40. I just picked that day as a random milestone to shoot for. Give me some time, almost 2 years, to work on stuff with my wife, to work on becoming people in full-time ministry, doing what we feel like we're called to do. Been thinking a lot about the life of Abraham. Been reading Hebrews chapter 11 and then going back and looking at Abraham's story. And it doesn't say a lot in there about fear. Abraham just obeys, and he obeyed and went. That's what it says in Hebrews. And that's incredible to me. And as a person, if I'm going to relate to that story, I have to imagine there being fear, and fear being overcome. Abraham is successful, highly successful. He's one of the heroes of faith. And yet he gave up everything, and he didn't even see the fulfillment of what he knew God was calling him to. It says he understood God was calling him to a city not built by earthly hands, but by heavenly hands. A city built by God himself. We know that to be the new heaven and new earth in the end of Revelation. It's something we ourselves have not even seen. And yet, even with that glorious future, I am still scared of the things that happen in this life. I'm scared of being a bad father. I'm scared of being a bad son. I'm scared of being a bad friend. I'm scared of being a bad husband, a bad brother. And yet, we go on. We keep saying yes to God and stepping forward in faith. What else? What other option is there? But I don't know if it's getting ready to launch Epic every day, if it's the rigmarole of having a plan and then having a plan change, which is normal. But I feel like fear is welling up inside of me, and it makes it hard to work. So I guess I just wanted to put it out there. I think one of the things that makes fear powerful is it being isolated, When scared people are alone, it's the fear is stronger. So I'm saying it. Scared to be real in my ministry, in my life in general. And I want to push into that too. I'm teaching Sunday school on Sunday, talking about Abraham. The story where Abraham is called to sacrifice Isaac. Now talk about fear. I don't think that story mentions fear either. Abraham obeys and goes to the mountain with his son, intending to kill him. It says something incredible in Hebrews, though. It says that Abraham figured that God must be able to raise the dead. And so he was able to be obedient. He understood something about God. I want to understand God in that way. And we know that God can raise the dead. And so what is there to be afraid of? I still don't even really know. So I guess it's just enough to acknowledge it. It's normal to be afraid. And yet it doesn't control me. And you know what I do when I'm afraid? I avoid. I guess it's a kind of running away. If it's fight or flight, I would probably do flight. Not really a fighter. What does that look like for me? Well, it looks like playing games on my phone. I play pool on my phone. I play cards on my phone. I play strategy games. And I watch YouTube. That's easier to do than to acknowledge fear, than to work hard on a solution to solve fear, which I think, the fear of success and failure is solved by trying stuff, inevitably failing, trying again. I've heard that story over and over again when I hear people interviewed who have been successful. And I've got to do that if I want to be successful in my faith. Keep getting back up, keep trying. But it's a lot easier to get my phone out and play Clash of Clans or pool. Unfortunately, it also looks like eating candy and drinking alcohol. Those are easier to do than to push into my fear. I think I'm motivated by fear. And that's something I want to work on giving up and surrendering to God more. So I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but will you push into your fear with me? Will you be obedient to God? If God's calling you to do something, like I believe He's calling me to do something, will you pursue it with all of your energy? Because what else is there to do? That's what that energy's for. I'm telling myself this as much as anyone else. The energy that I have is to be used to answer God's call. God's call is grace because He's calling me out of a life of sin. And the strength to go on is grace because it comes from God, not from me. I'm not a brilliant anything or a good worker or whatever. The ideas I have, anything that I have received from God because He's expanded my soul and my mind in whatever way. I mean, that's just part of, maybe it's a weird way to say it, but that's what learning is. Babies have their minds expanded when they learn to walk. So, well, thanks for listening to some of my fear. I think I will try to continue to share that. I don't want to be alone. And I'm not alone. I have systems in my life. I've got an amazing wife that I can actually communicate with and I'm friends with. And I've got friends and an accountability support system, which I highly advocate. But I also want to be real with anybody I may be called to minister to, which is hopefully somebody watching this video who will come to our discipleship school when we get it launched this year. It's a tough road, but some of it I have already walked, and I would love to share that journey and help other people overcome fear as I myself push into the fear. I'm not called to live in fear, but in love. And that's my motivation. Thanks for listening.